Welcome back to our newest Mastering Mobile Marketing series, where we aim to make app marketing uncomplicated. In today's episode, we'll be talking to AppsFlyer's Agency Alliance Manager, Alex Chandler, on incrementality testing and what that means for your business. So Alex, thank you so much for joining me today. To start with, would you mind just giving everyone an introduction to yourself and your role at AppsFlyer?
Sure thing. Thanks for having me, Sonia. So hi, I'm Alex. I'm the Agency Alliance Manager at AppsFlyer. I sit within the wider partnership development team, but specialize in the agency environment. So support our agency partners with platform training, accreditation of the tool, wider education on industry challenges like iOS 14, but also more specific elements of our product offering, including incrementality testing, which I'm excited to talk to you about today.
Thank you for that. And to start with, let's kick off with the basics. What is incrementality measurement and how does it work?
So incrementality measurement, otherwise known as lift testing or lift modeling, offers a scientific approach to measuring ad efficacy on top of organic or your existing user engagement. Incrementality aims to answer the question of how valuable your campaigns really are, and would these users have gone on to complete this action that you're aiming to achieve anyway. So how it's done is, first you need to define your audience. We usually recommend an audience size of around 50 to 100,000 users, and you separate that audience into two groups. The first group is a test group, which are served the ads as normal, and the second group is a control group, which is held back and served no ads. Again, we recommend the control group to include at least 15% of your audience to ensure that the test holds statistical significance. And the idea is you can then calculate the gap or the ratio between the measured KPI from both the control and the test groups to see the incremental lift and the real impact that your campaigns are having on your users.
Thank you for that. And I guess when testing incrementality, how should you go about defining your goals?
So the goal of the technique, as I mentioned, is to understand the incremental lift between those that saw the ad and those that did not. And in order to do that, you need to formulate a question or a hypothesis that you need answered. So for instance, would showing a remarketing ad on Facebook to users after 3 days of inactivity increase my revenue? That structure of that question clearly defines your audience. So users that have installed but not been active for 3 days, your channel, which is on Facebook in this example, your creative, which is a remarketing ad, and your goal, which is to increase your revenue. Great. With that, you have everything you need to test incrementality, provided that you have that criteria that I previously mentioned.
Great. And you touched a little bit on attribution there, but how do attribution and incrementality testing fit in together?
So it's a really good question. I think ultimately attribution is vital in understanding where to spend your marketing budget, and the same goes for incrementality. I would say that incrementality is really considered as the gold standard of measurement. But attribution at the same time is a great tool for quick and accurate decisions, whereas incrementality requires a little more resources and time and budget. It's not something that you can test continuously. You really need to have a time frame, usually around 30 days, whereas attribution can give you kind of real-time understanding to determine the value of your marketing efforts, reduce cannibalization, allocate your budget effectively. So they serve the same purpose, but incrementality will help you understand those deeper metrics like incremental ROI, incremental CPA, all of which you can see within AppsFlyer's incrementality dashboard.
What is A/B testing and how does that fit into incrementality testing?
Well, it's a very similar style of testing. I mean, A/B testing is an approach to effectively validate your incremental lift. I'd say the key difference is that there is a control group. Incrementality is effectively an A/B test with that control group, that whole back group, but it aims to achieve the same thing in terms of testing two similar groups on their behavior. Similarly, within incrementality measurement, as long as you have that control group as your baseline, you can A/B test on different networks. So you could split your audience, let's say 25% on Facebook, 25% on Google, 25% on TikTok, and the remaining 25% would be your control group. You would then be able to compare each network and the incremental lift to the control group, but similarly between the two ad networks as well.
And are there any challenges to incrementality testing that people should be made aware of in particular?
So outside of the criteria or the requirements in testing incrementality, as I mentioned, around budget, audience size, one of the challenges with incrementality, I suppose, would be ensuring accuracy of testing. So exposure to ads, if you're working on a number of different networks, ensuring that the entirety of that test group are actually served the ads and they went into the app to be able to be served the ads is a challenge, because of course we can't guarantee 100% that the test group will all be served those ads and offer that kind of balance between the control and test group. I think probably the key challenge right now in the wake of iOS 14 is working towards an IDFA-less solution. Audience building traditionally is dependent on device IDs, unique identifiers, and as we shift towards a privacy-centric world, we're working on a tool that works on a geo split, so geo-based audience building, as opposed to being reliant on uniquely identifying users within that audience. And that's something that we'll probably have readily available at the start of next year.
Right, thank you so much for that, Alex, and for taking the time. That was all really informative, and I feel as though IDFA could be a whole additional episode that, or 3 that we could potentially touch on. But thank you for going over incrementality testing, and for everyone watching, thank you so much. If you have any questions on today's discussion, we'll also include a link below for you to get in contact with the Yodel Mobile Growth team. And additionally, if you enjoyed the video, please do like, comment, or subscribe. Thank you.